Good morning. Welcome to Allen Avenue Unitarian Universalist Church's in-person and online worship. Whether today is your first time here or you've been coming for years, we're so glad that you're with us. My name is Erica Bartlett. My pronouns are she and hers, and I'm the chair of the worship committee. We are a growing community that transforms lives through the power of love. Our mission calls us to celebrate diversity, encourage spiritual growth, and promote social responsibility while we travel on and care for the earth. A special welcome to those at home who are joining us on Zoom today. If you're attending for the first time, please go to our website and fill out the welcome card so we can know more about you. This morning's service about the Gaia theory is presented by Allen Avenue's Worship Committee. Lay-led worship is a tradition at this and many other Unitarian Universalist societies. Here at Allen Avenue, the worship committee either sponsors or presents one such service a month, and on most other Sundays, services are led by our minister, Reverend Tara Humphreys. I have a few additional announcements. From the Social Justice Committee, next month, Ohioans will be voting on whether or not to add the right to reproductive freedom to the Ohio Constitution. Next Sunday, October 15th, the Social Justice Committee is sponsoring a letter writing effort to get out the vote. Each volunteer will be asked to write brief notes to 20 voters. We will provide some light snacks. You can sign up at the social justice table in the lobby today, or just show up in room 7-9 next week. Also from Social Justice, Pine Tree Power is here today to talk to people about Maine Question 3, which proposes to replace the CMP and Versant networks with a publicly owned utility. They also have lawn signs supporting Maine Question 2, which proposes to prohibit election spending by foreign governments on Maine elections. There's also a sign-up sheet for phone bank volunteers, and again, you can go to the social justice table in the lobby after the services. And the two SEG co-leaders, Judith and Patricia, wanted to introduce themselves.
Good morning. I think most people know Patricia. I'm Judith Beckett, and I'm going to be co-chair of the Spiritual Enlightenment Groups. If you look in your bulletin, you'll see a form to fill out if you're interested in joining us, either in a long-term group. We have a couple of openings, and we are also starting at least 2 more short-term groups to go through the fall and the winter into next spring. So if you fill out a form, you can hand it to me. Patricia, you'll see Patricia on Zoom a little bit later, in case you don't know her. And you can put your forms in the SEG box outside the kitchen, or hand them to me. And I hope there are people that will be interested. Thank you.
And I now invite you all to take this opportunity to silence your cell phones if you haven't already. And after the service, please grab a cup of coffee in the kitchen window and stay for conversation in the foyer or out on the lawn. We encourage you to find someone you've never met before and introduce yourself. Those on Zoom may stay and connect with each other online. And now let us center our hearts and minds with the ringing of the chimes.
Hi, I'm Susie Hubley. My pronouns are she and her. And this is called A Web of Holy Relationships, and it's by Lynn Cox. Spirit of life, who draws us together in a web of holy relationships, make your presence known with us and in us and among us. Remind us that we are not alone in history. Ignite us with the courage of the living tradition. Remind us that we are not alone in entering the future. Anchor us with patience and perseverance. Remind us that we are not alone in our times of grief and pain. Comfort us with your spirit manifest in human hands and voices. Remind us that we are not alone in joy and wonder. Inspire us to honor and extend the beauty we find in this world. Divine music of the universe, let our hearts beat in diverse and harmonious rhythms, cooperating with an everlasting dance of love. May we move with the rhythms of peace. May we move with the rhythms of compassion. May we move with the rhythms of justice, source of stars and planets and water and land. Open our hearts to all of our neighbors. Open our souls to a renewal of faith. Open our hands to join together in the work ahead. So be it.
Hello, I'm Kate Sullivan. I'm a member of the worship committee. We want to invite those members on Zoom to light their own chalice or candle. This is called a chalice prayer. Walk barefoot on grass, a sandy beach, the moist soil of a garden, to feel your connection to the earth. Be caressed by a night wind. Breathe deep and feel the air in your lungs. Step into the life-giving light. Turn your face to the sun. Feel the warmth of our fiery star. Take a drink of cool water. Replenish your thirsty cells. Swim in the ocean, a communion between our salty blood and our primordial home. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, that which sustains all life, elements of our universal connection to all that is and to each other. Please join us in our opening hymn, number 387, The Earth, Water, Fire, Air, and the choir members will lead us. Just follow what they do. You're wrong. Yeah.
In a few moments, some of us will leave the sanctuary to enjoy religious education programming. The kids are working on a service project today, making dog toys for the animals at the shelter. But first, I invite our lamplighter, Phoebe, to join me in the pulpit. Phoebe? Come around this way. A lamplighter is entrusted to transfer the light of the sanctuary chalice to the lamp and then go forth to RE spaces. I invite those going to RE to follow the lamplighter as we carry the flame, expanding our sacred space.
Good morning. My name is Mike Luce. I'm a member of the worship committee. And I entitled my piece, Gaia and the Golden Rule. And you'll find in your orders of service a lot of different ways to express the Golden Rule. Back in the 70s, James Lovelock came up with a hypothesis or theory or whatever you want to call it, that the earth functioned like a living organism. In other words, a self-regulating organism or an entity. It's an all-in kind of proposition. It includes the inorganic as well as the organic types in a complex web of interactions. Somehow, in a process so complex it might as well be magic to us, it's resulted in a continuing dynamic entity we call the Earth. Everything that goes on mitigates towards that continuation. Scientists have valid criticisms of the Gaia hypothesis as a useful objective model of how the Earth operates. But the usefulness of the hypothesis isn't about complex algorithms and calculus or co-evolving life forms. It's about making things accessible to us to really think about, to see our existential reality in understandable terms and relationships. Also, scientists and researchers often have a bias in favor of that which can be counted or measured. And we can't begin to count or measure the almost literally countless interactions which make up this thing, this entity we're all a part of. So way too often we fall into the trap of thinking that if it can't be counted, it doesn't count. But I think it does. That's why I use Gaia as a metaphor mostly. It's about as complex as I can think. That one proverbial flap of a butterfly's wings matters. Not that we can figure out how. We're beginning to understand some of what our actions do, though. Some, not all. Some time ago, it probably didn't matter much what we human types did as far as Gaia was concerned. We were just after another species that cropped up along the way, as species will. With time, though, really fast by Gaian time, the ecological niche, let me start that again. With time, though, really fast by Gaian time, the stuff we did started to matter. Some other things which we were doing just fine, thank you, and filling their ecological niche, suddenly were considered very tasty. Again, suddenly, by Gaian terms, they were gone. The chemistry of the very air, sea, and soil through their activity, or scarce, I'm sorry, I'm skipping lines here. Again, suddenly, by Gaian terms, they were gone, or scarce on the land, or in the sea, or the air no longer, filling their niche. Humans also began to change the chemistry of the very air, sea, and soil through their activities. Most parts of Gaia became ill or disappeared. The ripples of all this fan out, sort of like if your lungs or kidneys are compromised. Bad things start to happen in other places. Changes like this have always occurred, but unless you're talking about the proverbial big giant meteor or some such, the speed and breadth of changes largely due to human activity is something pretty unprecedented. Now, along the way, humans also began to ask the existential and spiritual questions we wrestle with today. We wanted to know how things work, along with the larger why question. Lots of different ways of approaching this appeared in what we call religions, among other terms. There were, and are, a whole lot of differences among them, stemming from place, time, what went before, and all that. But a continuing practical bit of advice seems to be ubiquitous and expands easily outside human relations. The thing I like most about it is that practicality. It doesn't require special divine connections or insight. And it works if only we do it. We commonly know it as the golden rule, but the basic thought has occurred over and over among different peoples. It's so practical and pragmatic, anybody could do it. I said earlier that the speed of changes was unprecedented. So what's also unprecedented is the fact that we, the cause, are aware and able to do something about it, at least theoretically. All we need to do is treat Gaia with the wisdom and insight of many seekers of knowledge among us and listen to our Gaian body. These words are by Maureen Killeran. As the rain has washed our land this season, may we enter this morning with hearts washed clean of complaints and bitterness. May we begin this morning by intentionally relaxing the tensions we carry, the strain of those things we cannot abandon, the responsibilities of our lives. As the sun has warmed our land this season, may we allow the warmth of this community to heal our broken places. May the fog be lifted so we can see each other clearly. May we rejoice in the blessings of companions who, if we will open ourselves just a little, will truly greet us with compassion and care. As the earth, nourished by rain, brings forth flowers to surround us with beauty, may we too allow our spirits to bloom even as we acknowledge the complexity of our days.
Good morning. I failed to give my name when I lit a candle, but I checked my name tag and I am Rick Kimball, a member of the worship committee. And I'm reading a piece called It. It's all about connection. What is? It is. Everything is. All are. I am. You are. Gaia is. Gaia, soul of earth, womb of connective force. The earth, the water, the air, the fire, return, return. return, return. But sometimes we people are better at chanting about connecting than we are about doing it. Selves intrude and interfere. The redwood tree out there may do better than we do, sending its roots quietly underground to shake hands with other roots. Recognizing that this Gaia service would take place just hours before Indigenous Peoples' Day clicked a switch in my brain and brought up a boyhood memory. And yes, it is possible to remember, to connect with the self of 70 years ago when I was a Boy Scout and then an Explorer Scout in Orono, Maine. For some reason, our troop decided we should form an Indian dance team. We gathered up feathers and drums and arrows and headdresses and breechcloths and offered ourselves in performers to other troops and anybody else who wanted to watch us. We danced as eagles and bears and other creatures. We connected with the earth, the water, the air, and the fire. But did we all-American Caucasian Scouts reach out and connect with the Penobscot Indians who were living on an island just 4.5 miles from our meeting place? Did we ask these Native Americans their opinion of what they might have seen as not dance, but mimicry? Why, no, that never occurred to us. We didn't worry about it. And we did not worry about cultural appropriation. We had never, ever heard the term. The only thing we worried about, and this was a great concern, was what would happen if our breechcloths somehow fell off in the middle of a performance, burying us in the midst of a gyrating, drum-driven, pulsing dance. Who could care about cultural norms if unintended nude exposure threatened? Well, as we grew older, we came up with more and more answers to that question of what might happen next, but I need not share them here. The earth, the water, the air, the fire, return, 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 return. I'm delighted to say that we're doing better today than we did in my scouting days. It may seem that nothing in the world ever improves. It only gets worse, but that is not the case. Look at us today, speaking of Gaia and about to celebrate Indigenous Peoples' Day instead of Columbus Day. Consider even the Scouts with their acceptance of gays and, gasp, girls. Look at our A2U2 pagan group with its ongoing exploration of concepts like Gaia. And remember the times we have asked Indigenous people of this place we call Maine to visit and connect with us in this church. The earth, the water, the air, the fire. Return, 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 return. When I was writing this piece, I broke away to walk with my wife, Tyrrell, around Mackworth Island. We paused for a time to sit on a bench, immersing ourselves in the spirit of Gaia. Waves wandered easily in and out, to and from the beach below us. No crashing surf this summer day. Bugs and beetles scurried here and there. I stared at the exposed roots of trees and thought that if I sat long enough, I might sense, even physically feel, their reaching out to connect with other living things. I lifted my eyes then to leaves still green, but beginning to turn to color, then to drop dying onto land, into sea, drifting and dancing on the way in the moving air. Tyrrell and I will follow one day, I thought. So will we all, melding in new form into Gaia, with its promise of rebirth and reconnection. And I dare to believe that this will be good. You think about these things when you're old. You think about these things when you have Alzheimer's in your house. You can think of these things when you're young and well also, without the prompts of aging and ailing. Very often, if not always, such thought brings the great reward of immersion in and connection with the forces of Gaia. It's all about connection. What is? It is. Everything is. All are. I am, you are, Gaia is. Gaia, soul of earth, womb of connective force. The earth, the water, the air, the fire. Return, 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 return. Blessed be. Turning now from cosmos to coin, and from connection to collection, we are a freely gathered, open and welcoming faith community supported by your contributions. Each week, 1/3 of our offering is given away to a nonprofit organization whose mission aligns with our Unitarian Universalist values. This month's Share the Plate recipient is Musan, the Maine Unitarian Universalist State Advocacy Network, which is a statewide advocacy and public policy network anchored in UU faith. You can find more information in your order of service or in our newsletter. Donations can be made now at as the basket is passed through the donate button on our website, or if you are a member on Breeze. If giving through Breeze, please note if the donation is your pledge or a gift to our Share the Plate. If you are visiting us for the first time this morning, please know that your presence is your gift to us. At this time, our offering will be collected and gratefully received.
This reading is titled A Universe of Possibilities, and it is by Jill Tarter, an excerpt from her 2009 TED Talk. We live on a fragile island of life in a universe of possibilities. For many millennia, humans have been on a journey to find answers. Answers to questions about naturalism and transcendence, about who we are and why we are, and of course, who else might be out there. Is it really just us? Are we alone in this vast universe of energy and matter and chemistry and physics? Well, if we are, it's an awful waste of space. But what if we're not? What if out there others are asking and answering similar questions? What if they look up at the night sky, at the same stars, but from an opposite side? Would the discovery of an older cultural civilization out there inspire us to find ways to survive our increasingly uncertain technological adolescence? Might it be the discovery of a distant civilization and our common cosmic origins that finally drives home the message of the bond among all humans? Whether we're born in San Francisco or Sudan or close to the heart of the Milky Way galaxy, we are the products of a billion-year lineage of wandering stardust. We, all of us, are what happens when a primordial mixture of hydrogen and helium evolves for so long that it begins to ask where it came from.
This reading is titled Earth, and it's written by Mark Belleton. This is our earth. It falls through heaven like a pearl in a glass of plum wine. There are no other earths that I know of. There are no other skies that we have mapped. This is our earth. The oneness who gave birth to it remains nameless. There was no midwife then to bring us word of the birth cry. We only rejoice that it is. This is our earth. Ice caps its head. Glaciers clasp its feet. Warm wind, like the breath of a lover, breathes around its breast. Mountains thrust up to the clouds, bringing joy. Storms blow across its shores, bringing fear. Silvery fish capture sunlight and bring it down into the deep, as on shore, valleys spread with ripening fruit. Cities teem with the poor and disenfranchised in the shadow of golden towers. Children live and also die. Highways throb, monks sit in silence. Mothers work, crickets chirp, teachers plan, engineers design, fathers write letters. People marry with and without the blessings of law. People cry, they laugh and brood and worry and wait. This is our earth. There are no other earths. Before its wonder, philosophers fall silent. Before its mystery, poets admit their words are shadow, not light. And all the great names religious teachers have left to us, Ishtar, Shekinah, Terra Mater, Suchness, Wakan, Tanka, Gaia, suddenly refuse to announce themselves. And so we too fall silent, entering the time when words end and reality begins.
Are we on? Yes. My name is Erica Bartlett, and I've been thinking about how difficult it probably is for many people in the United States to embrace James Lovelock's Gaia theory. We focus so much on independence and celebrate individualism to such a degree that it can be hard to think of being just a small cell in the larger body of the planet. And accepting a theory like this challenges our understanding of the planet and our place in it. From the little research I did, it sounds like there's more support of the theory now than when it was first introduced, but there's still also a lot of skepticism. As I thought about it, though, it occurred to me that believing or not believing in the Gaia theory may be beside the point. Even if we don't think it's completely true, remembering that we need the earth and the plants and the animals we share it with is vital in this time of climate crisis. To that extent, it can be a useful idea even if the theory isn't proven. And from that perspective, it can be both comforting and inspiring to consider being connected to and part of something greater than ourselves. And I'm not the only one to think that way. In the book, How to Live in a Chaotic Climate, Laura Schmidt talks about the importance of using connection as a way to help us through the climate crisis, and that we need what she calls a heart-centered revolution. That approach focuses on being open to our interconnectedness and making decisions with an eye towards how it will impact not just ourselves, but the larger world. She wrote, "In this revolution, we realize that we are not individuals contained in our corporeal body, but in a dynamic relationship with the air, water, and larger world around us. When we see our connection to all that is, we open our circle of care and concern to species extinction, the climate catastrophe, and the whole of humankind. This shift of consciousness ushers in connectedness, love, and community as we break down the barriers that make us believe in our separateness." I like this way of thinking about it. It strikes me as being aligned with our seventh principle, respect for the interdependent web of existence of which we are a part, and a heart-centered approach seems very appropriate for our universalist heritage. I don't know if this is what Lovelock had in mind, but perhaps if more of us use the framework of the Gaia theory to think about the Earth in this way, and how to approach our place among the multitude of life here, we'd be more likely to treat the Earth with care, giving Gaia a chance to be self-sustaining and capable of supporting life for generations to come. And I now invite you to join us in our closing hymn, number 175, We Celebrate the Web of Life. The words will be on the screen and are also in the gray hymnal. Dale will play it through once, and then we'll sing it through. Please rise and body your spirit. Our closing words are by Susan Carlson. We leave blessed by our connections to one another, to the spirit of life. Walk lightly, that you see the life that is below your feet. Spread your arms as if you had wings and could dance through the air. Feel the joy of the breath in your lungs and the fire in your heart. Live to love and be a blessing to the earth. Our worship has ended. And as I extinguish our chalice, I invite those on Zoom to extinguish their chalice or candle.